Hey Manage back. So this is a reflection video about my time at the Global Envision's Global Young's Leadership Conference. I decided to make a video because honestly I wouldn't know where to start, and if I was to type this it'd probably be way too long, but I'll express myself vocally. Um, yeah, like I said, I don't know where to start. I mean, to be quite honest, I went into that conference stepping inside the hotel doors because that's where registration was at first. And I told myself, man, this is gonna be a long 10 days. A lot of people, um, you know, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't nervous, you know? It was very, I guess, intimidating. And I would see myself as a fairly talkative person, but I don't know. It was just something inside me that was like, man, this is going to be very long. This is going to be a very long trip. Mom, take me home now. But then I didn't. It's just, yeah. But besides that point, it was around 500 students or so from all around the world. Now I participated in something like this the year beforehand at the North Anglia NAE UN Summit in New York with all the North Anglia schools. We got together, and I went into this conference thinking it might be similar, but to my surprise, it was completely different. I mean, I've met people from Australia there, South Africa, Trinidad and Tobago, the Cayman Islands. Like, I didn't even know Trinidad and Tobago was a country, at that time, until I actually met a few people from there and started conversing with them and interacting with them. People from the Bahamas, and we were talking, and many of them didn't know about Cambodia either. And that experience, really, looking back at it now, it's really crazy how people didn't even know Cambodia existed at first. Similarly to myself, I didn't know Trinidad and Tobago was a country whatsoever. So, but it's like those experiences that really sort of enrich you, and the people you meet, it exposes you and makes you more diverse, and being able to interact and sort of attempt to integrate with other people's cultures, a very fantastic time. I mean, just to give a brief rundown on the general thing we did, we were broken up into 14 different country groups. I was Brazil, and we basically had to draft a proposal for an SDG, a resolution. And so that proposal would then get passed on. I think I mentioned this already at the brief overview, but nevertheless, I chose quality education and I represented Brazil. And unfortunately, my team's proposal didn't go through to the second round. We did work really hard at it, and yeah, I guess it's kind of unfortunate that we didn't get to pass on to the second round, because eventually at the end, the resolution that passes, the SDG that passes, will be the resolution that gets debated on at the United Nations. And so when we got to New York, so I was in DC for around roughly 3 nights, 4 days. I got to meet brilliant keynote speakers, got to visit the Department of Defense, and yeah, so that was pretty interesting, especially talking to this individual, this man, who is a social activist for I guess humanitarian needs, especially global warming. And something he said, I still remember to this day. Many people, not including myself, don't believe in global warming. They think it's just a big hoax, and they think it's fake. For instance, not being biased or in any way, but the United States President Donald Trump pulled out of the Paris Peace Agreement, climate agreement, because he didn't, feel climate change was a threatening issue. But one thing he said was, the people who don't believe in climate change are the people most scared, and are the people who sort of want to neglect and ignore the present big issue and just think that they're in some sort of dreamland and they don't want to face the problem. Now, thinking about that quote and sort of trying to connect it back to, I guess, our culture here in Cambodia, I honestly feel like that's a major issue, because with a lot of the social problems and things like that from the government in regards to the poverty, as Cambodia is a less economically developed country, how the government fails to turn their attention away from the needy. And when they can be putting in 100% effort, they would rather just put 50 or 40%, just to have a little bit in there, so they don't feel guilty enough just to say that, oh, I already contributed and that's enough, which I think is completely false. But yeah, that quote really stuck to me. But anyways, besides that point, now going to New York, I was nominated to join the leadership group committee. So there was 14 people who gets nominated, because it's one per country group, and in a country group there's around 20-30 people. And so I was fortunately nominated because of, I guess, discussions there. I guess they I don't know if they nominated me, but anyways, inside the committee nomination group meetings, it was sort of at the end only 7 individuals who get chosen to be the leadership group team that runs the actual UN conference at the and to my advantage, as I have a lot of experience with models United Nations and things like that, we had to give a presentation on what we believe what a global citizen is, what makes someone a global citizen. And what I remember just presenting out was, in order to be a global citizen, for one thing, you have to inhabit the fact of acceptance, and be open-minded, because no matter how ridiculous someone's opinions or thoughts may be to a particular situation, it's still accounted for. Their voice shouldn't be neglected just because it's odd or unique to what other people's ideals are. So in order to be a global citizen, someone must inhabit the ability to be very open-minded and not be judgmental, and be able to, I guess, be diversified, being able to integrate with other cultures, and just being able to step out of their comfort zone. So that's what I believe a global citizen is. And we also had to write one page on why we should be chosen. And I guess luckily I was chosen to chair during the United Nations. Now, going into the United Nations, I've only toured it. Only toured the United Nations before, never actually sat into the delegates chair. Now, we got into the ECOSOC committee room, which is basically the economical, social chambers. And it was crazy because I could remember just Googling pictures of it, seeing it on UN press conferences, seeing it on the website, and here I am actually stepping into the committee room and sitting at where, I guess, the Secretary General or the President of the ECOSOC committee sits. It was crazy. I was mind blown. I was shaken up. I couldn't express myself at that time. It all didn't sink in yet, but nevertheless, I gave a speech, the introductory speech. Myself, an individual named Adam from Japan, born in Kentucky, and Mia from Maryland. three of us were fortunate enough to get chosen to chair the conference. And I must say, it's a moment that I will never forget in my life. And now my goal is set on one day representing Cambodia at the United Nations. You know, after leaving the room, I told myself, I'm gonna come back here one day, not representing a delegation of something, rather than I will come here and represent my country. I will sit in these chairs and be the voice speaker and I guess, you know, represent Cambodia at the United Nations. Now that is my ultimate goal in life. But never the fact, just reflecting on the whole trip as a whole, you know, friendships were made from bright-minded individuals all around the world, young leaders, ambitious minds, you know, friends from Germany, from New York, South America, you know, the Cayman Islands, things like that. It's experiences like these where you really are able to integrate and open up your eyes. Just, you know, it's all about what diversification and what these being international is. You integrate with other people's culture, and that's something that I've been fortunate enough to sort of have the opportunity to have been even chosen to attend the conference in the first place. And that's something memorable and I will forever cherish for a very long time. And the experiences that I learned there, I will be implementing it in Cambodia. We're doing what I can as a person. I will be really trying to take that's the whole point on why I even attend all these conferences, to be quite honest, is to really take the experiences there and be fortunate enough to be surrounded with bright-minded individuals with various ideas on how they feel like they can make a country better. And I try to sort of remember all those things, contribute in those things, and sort of get other people's like point of views and want to integrate it to the Cambodian culture. So what I plan on doing now, you know, after listening about SEG 14, I believe, about responsible consumption and production, what I'm going to be doing now is I will be going to my father's birth province, which is Gauteng. And basically my goal there is to interact with the farmers, and not only that, but to sort of evaluate and see where they are, how they grow their crops, and if there's anything they can do that can make it more sustainable. How they're able to sustain themselves, be self-sufficient, and not only that, but how sort of it can have a positive impact on the environment. Because I myself am a true advocate for, you know, global warming, and I do believe it is true. And yeah, I guess that sort of wraps up this reflection. It's a fairly long video, so my apologies to whoever watches this, but that's sort of my time there, my 10 days there at the capital of the United States, to going to New York City, and, you know, going to the United Nations and giving a speech there. So yeah, hope you were entertained or sort of enjoyed my reflection. There's no script, so this all comes from the heart, but I should just stop here. Thank you.